Right, everyone, welcome to Simply Bitcoin, the channel that breaks down all the daily Bitcoin news from Twitter, the daily fail, the meme review, the software releases, and the websites by plebes. And today we've got a very special guest. Max Keiser of the Orange Pill podcast is with us. So we are going to kick it off with the numbers. Here we go, guys. Current block height, 667,943. Current Bitcoin price, 30,980. The chain rewrite days, we're looking at 595. Total lightning capacity, 1,057.94 BTC. The Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 4.80%. We've been here before.
No, I feel like I've been saying the same thing for like a week now. It's just the same price, the same consolidation. Unfortunately, no Satoshi the Bitcoin chicken because he only clucks when the price of Bitcoin reaches an all-time high. That being said, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Fail. Today's Daily Fail is brought to us by Paul Singer. And billionaire hedge fund manager Paul Singer just claimed that cryptocurrencies are nothing. Singer is worth 3.6 billion fiat boomer bucks. And Paul Singer is the founder and president, chief executive officer of Elliott Investment Management. So again, right, it's very interesting to see this total BS narrative play out, where in one hand, these guys are sitting there telling you cryptocurrency is nothing. And in the meantime, with another hand, quietly, they're sitting there building up reserves and trying to desperately find a way into Bitcoin. Paul Singer, you're our fail today, my friend.
Man, like what I think you summarized it perfectly, Phil. Like what else could be said? You know, this guy's just a dinosaur. He doesn't know he's dead yet. And Bitcoin's going to be the asteroid that just completely exterminates them. I'm very interested to see what our guest thinks. What are your thoughts on this, Max?
Hey, guys. Well, you know, Paul Singer is been in the business for a while, and he likes to bully countries around and buy junk bonds, and he's a vulture capitalist, and he's an egomaniac. And Bitcoin doesn't do well with egomaniacs, whether it's Paul Singer or Jamie Dimon or Lloyd Blankfein, because these guys are vested in the current system. And when something comes along that challenges the system and challenges their place in the system, they just dismiss it out of hand without really going into the numbers, without doing their homework, without really understanding it. They just automatically, reflexively reject it because their ego gets in the way. And Paul Singer is one of those egomaniacal guys who just is not going to get it.
And Paul Singer is definitely going to have fun staying poor. Thanks for that, Max. Phil, it's time for
the Daily Meme Review.
All right, everybody. The meme for today is brought to us by a fellow pleb, Sweet Toshi. Awesome mixed, super cool stickers. I suggest you go check him out on his Twitter and his meme. Me still processing Bitcoin breaking 20K. Okay. It didn't make me laugh, but it was good. It was interesting. It was easy to understand. Phil, I'm going to give that an 8. What about you?
Okay, I'm going with the 7.5.
Awesome. What about you, Max? What would you give that meme?
I'm in the 7.5 camp. You know, it's usually when I see my kitty cat memes, I like to see cute kitty cats. This looked like a mean kitty cat, so it's a bit off-putting, but I get the point of it. So yeah, 7.5.
7.5. 7.5 from Max. All around, good around scores. Let's see if the next meme could improve it. It's brought to us by the Meme Lord, RD_BTC, also another fellow pleb, and of course, they're talking about Professor Plum 99, Dr. Bitcoin. So how long have you been? Pretty good. Definitely an improvement. Phil, I'm gonna give that an 8. What about you?
Oh, looks like we're aligned. Going with an 8.
And last but not least, Max.
Quick chuckle.
What would you give that meme?
Oh, I give that 8.5. Meme Lord is an established meme master, and just the virtue of his reputation, you know, you get a high score. The meme itself, I think, is good, and that guy deserves to get memed. He's, again, an egomaniac, where, you know, his arguments are all based on him, me, I, right? And Bitcoin is about distribution, right? It's about us, the network, you know, the whole unity of everything. So he deserves to get memed, and memed hard.
Absolutely. Those egomaniacs are definitely going to get wrecked. I absolutely agree. Phil, it's time for
The Daily News, sponsored by Crypto Cloaks.
All right, everybody, the news for today, it's a continuation of what we've been reporting, for the last, 2 or 3 months on Simply Bitcoin. Very simple. It's just more legitimization, right? Harvard, Yale, Brown endowments have been buying Bitcoin at least for a year. The writing is really on the wall, and it looks like another big company, a NASDAQ company, purchased 4,812 Bitcoin for $150 million. Of course, this follows Mass Mutual Insurance Company. This follows MicroStrategy. This follows Square, right? And a couple other hedge funds as well. It looks like institutions are ready to go into Bitcoin. The next step are governments, of course, and small countries. And you're already starting to see that. Of course, Miami is just a small city, but the fact that they put the Satoshi white paper on the Miami website is so freaking awesome. I think they already announced that they're putting some of Miami's cash reserves into Bitcoin. Man, this is awesome. This is big. This is bullish news. All the stars and planets are lining up for Bitcoin. It's the institutions, right? 100 trillion USD has been reporting it. This epoch is going to be different. Phil, I want to get your thoughts, and of course, Max's thoughts.
There was, the name is totally slipping me, but there was either a senator or a congressman who also put it up on his website as well, the Bitcoin white paper. So look, you sometimes you end up hearing these kind of garbage narratives that, the on-ramps aren't ready and this and that. But look, these big players, clearly they're able to get their hands on Bitcoin and are able to start accumulating it. So, it's like when they decide to tell you that the on-ramps are ready, they've already been going full steam ahead. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think this is bullish, and it's exactly what we said, like you said, right from the beginning. We've been saying, look, as soon as we started to see MicroStrategy, right, we knew that we would see other companies fall in line, and that's it. And as we know, the first week of February, he's holding that conference there where he's going to share his, the Chad Saylor playbook on how to buy Bitcoin.
Absolutely. Max, what are your thoughts on this?
Right. Well, to see those Ivy League schools jump into Bitcoin is very significant. They've got huge endowments, and they represent something of the elites in the United States, the intelligentsia, who are now going to be exposed to what is Harvard doing? They're going to start digging into this. My immediate thought was, Nouriel Roubini is affiliated with New York University. And so what's he going to do when NYU endowment starts pouring into Bitcoin? It's a repudiation of their star economist. He's another egomaniac that just won't let his ego's getting in the way of understanding Bitcoin. As far as this cascade effect of ever larger institutions getting involved with Bitcoin, this is what people have been talking about for years. It makes sense. It plays into the game theory that's baked into the protocol, right into the Genesis block. There's always going to be game theory, and it's played out from going back to 2011 when I got involved. You had various influencers, I guess you could call them, vying for attention. Then it became the miners. Then it became, eventually we got to Paul Tudor Jones, Michael Saylor, now these endowments. And I agree, it's going to jump to the sovereign level. You're going to have nation states starting to accumulate. And then you're going to have, instead of this chatter about how do we regulate Bitcoin, it's going to be how do we, the country of fill in the blank, acquire more Bitcoins. So you're going to end up with a Bitcoin race, a hash race, or a hash war. And it's going to be a mad scramble to accumulate Bitcoin, not regulate Bitcoin.
Absolutely. And Max, if you were to give, I know this is very speculation territory, but if you were to give a timeline to these events, what would you say?
I think, well, as I've been saying for a while, it's tied to the fortunes of the U.S. dollar. And people are tied to the U.S. dollar. And as long as the U.S. dollar holds up relatively well, the urgency for these big economies and funds, like a sovereign wealth fund, for example, we haven't heard about the Qatar or the Norway sovereign wealth fund. I'm sure they'll be peeping above the parapet soon and announcing some Bitcoin positions. But, everyone's really comfortable with the dollar. It's been the world reserve currency for 50 years. Once it breaks critical support, though, I think the urgency factor kicks in and people are going to put down all of their bogus arguments against Bitcoin and realize that as a life-saving maneuver, they got to start accumulating Bitcoin. I think in 2021 is the year the dollar really starts to unravel. So I would say this year.
Absolutely. And you know, it's looking like for any institution that does not want to get at least some exposure to Bitcoin, it's completely irresponsible at this point. So I completely agree with you, Max. And that being said, Phil, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. So it looks like we've got a new version of Satpile. And the link to that will be down in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. I just want to give a shout out to our legendary guest. You guys know him. He's the legendary Max Keiser. He is the co-host of the Orange Pill podcast. It's super awesome. They're going to have Simon Dixon on this weekend. You guys should definitely go check it out. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them on Apple Podcasts. You can find them on Spotify. And while you're at it, go join their Telegram. We're going to have it down in the link description. Thank you so much for coming on, Max. That was our show, guys. If you liked it, smash that like button. If you guys loved it, subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.